Hey, Thomas.
Wayne, how you doing, sir?
I should announce this is the SEC Growth and Data Science staff meeting for January 18th. I don't know. Yeah. Hey, George.
Hey, Wayne. Hey, Thomas.
George, how are you, sir?
I am good. How about you?
Doing all right. And I am admiring the reimagined series of elements on the wall behind you.
I've shared this comment so many times, but
sorry.
yes. No, it's fine. It's fine. Completely fine.
Okay.
It's not that actually, yeah, but anyway, it's a design practice I used to try a while ago.
So we'll get started in about a minute. We're all early.
I know. That means everybody else is late. I say in jest, since this is being live streamed.
Is it possible, philosophically, is it possible to be late when all meetings are optional? Is it possible to be late? It sounds like a quote for somewhere. I don't know. I think yes, if anyone who joins late asks people to back up in the agenda, then you're actually late and you shouldn't ask for that. So, but all meetings are optional. Hey, Amr.
Hey, how you doing, Wayne?
Good. We'll get started in about 30 seconds.
Did you have a good long weekend?
Yeah. How about everybody else? George, Thomas, how was your weekend?
Relaxing.
Largely good. I just need kids to not get sick anymore.
So it's the SEC Growth Data Science staff meeting for January 18th. We were talking about other things before we get started, but why don't we get started? So first, welcome George, who's my shadow this week and a GitLab core community contributor.
Hey, everyone.
So why don't we jump over to Amar? Amar, it looks like you have the next item.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Lucas and James for receiving a discretionary bonus on their efforts on a recent customer escalation. Not only Lucas and James were involved, Tiago, thank you for not only proposing the discretionary bonus, but also all your efforts on this, as well as Neil, who's not present. So just great collaboration across the stage section and other teams as well. I think I have the next one too, under news and events. Just in case you missed it, leaked personal access tokens will now be automatically revoked for all GitLab org team members. It's a huge step in the continued trajectory of making this enabled for all customers. That's going to be happening for GitLab.com on January 23rd. And as well as self-managed on the 22nd of February. Dates still accurate as of now, but yeah, just huge shout out to everyone involved on that effort as well.
Thanks, Amar. So we've got a development newsletter that we're working on. That we've talked about in this meeting before. After reviewing it in Christopher's staff meeting, got some good feedback on it from a number of folks. So the details are here as we get started on this in this epic. The first iteration is planned for February. If you have topics that you think should be included, or you want to weigh in on the topics that are included, please collaborate on the issue for the February newsletter. And also please make your teams aware so they can collaborate on the content if they're interested in doing so. Some have already collaborated on it, which is great. I think I just posted this less than 24 hours ago. So good stuff. Please also review draft Q1 OKRs for secure governed growth and data science. I put mine in earlier today. And, please start working on ones for your teams. Keeping these in mind, but also coming up with your own based on the overall themes and the GitLab values, of course. Do we want to review these live? We've done that in the past. Do we want to do that? Maybe in a Zoom emoji up, down on if you want to, or up if you want to review it live. One yes, two yeses. Okay, that's enough. So I'm not going to share my screen because this issue is public. Put in the chat. But George, I think I sent this to you as well. So you have it. Okay, good. So some of the themes, and I've started mine based off of Christopher's, etc. But again, these are all drafts. So objective 1, increasing revenue by growing a customer result mindset and delivering results. So I'm going to summarize here, continued work on FedRAMP for SLAs for vulnerabilities, meeting the SLAs for vulnerabilities. 2 for data science around AI assisted code suggestions, MVC, and a model registry, MVC. And these, the rest of these under this one are based off the product management ones. Under secure continuous vulnerability scanning capabilities and dependency scanning, and also for secure a vision proof of concept for real-time SaaS scanning with the new web UI. These are, I think, are a little bit more in flux. They're all in flux. But I don't think product is settled on theirs just yet, but it's great. We've got an early look at them. Questions or comments about those? As I realize my issue has 2 objective 3s, so I will fix that as I talk.
Do you want feedback or commentary in this issue, or do you want it on agenda, or do you want it in Slack? Where do you want it?
How about now?
Okay. Side channel comment. Do I? Okay.
Whatever you prefer.
I'll start now, and I'll happily go. I'll write them where I'll write them in the issue as well. Continuous vulnerability scanning is competing against deprecating license finder, and so in composition analysis. So I'm dubious that both can be achieved, particularly during this particular quarter, particularly with 16.0 approaching at the very end. So, and I think license finder replacement has the priority. And the real-time SAST one, for, target being Web IDE or the Web IDE replacements. Product is saying that won't be ready. Web IDE replacement won't be ready for SAST until Q2 at the earliest. And so there, I know I'm hearing, I hear they're not settled on that one yet, like you were saying earlier. And so, but I'll put both of them in there just because I've been side channeling.
In the source issue that PM's goals are, and
Okay.
tag them so they know. The PM's probably already know some of this, but not all. So that's good to know. Good feedback. Great feedback. Objective 2, mature the platform to continue to be the leading DevSecOps platform. Continue to TBD iterations to close best-in-class gaps, pending discussion with product. 100% of our teams are using GitLab as an OKR tool. We're getting off Ally. It's kind of an easy one for us to achieve, but important to achieve. And raising the MR rate TBD. It's an overall development goal. We want to look at ours as well. Objective 3, career growth of team members, team member training or a 360 feedback cycle, figuring that out, a hiring goal TBD, to be determined, talent assessment follow-up, and action plans based on feedback, and finishing finish complete, typo again, complete the gap analysis and delivery on to be determined short-term wins for secured governed growth and data science. And lastly, under application health, error budgets, and continue to burn down the list of customer impacting S1 and S2 bugs, which I know we made progress on. We're always making progress on these, including in Q4. Initial thoughts on these?
Wayne, is objective 2 KR1, does it overlap with objective 3 KR4? So the gap analysis and the big gap?
Yeah, good point. Very good point. We need to simplify that. Where do you think it fits better? Oh, it doesn't fit that well in career.
I mean, we're already doing the efforts on BIC, right? So between the two, I would keep objective 2 KR1.
Yeah, I'm going to delete that. It's a duplicate and in the wrong place anyway. Good catch.
Before you do, because I was looking at Christopher's OKRs yesterday.
Mhm.
I saw after thinking of, I had the same question Tiago did, but I had separated them eventually in that I think some teams haven't finished the gap analysis. And I think this is to be a follow-on to the work that's happening in this quarter, whereas 2.1 is what iterations have been identified that are not the quick wins. I think they're separate, though it's fine margins.
I'm still going to move it. That's a good point. I'm going to move it to the above one. Because it was definitely in the wrong objective. Here, just refresh, see if that makes more sense. Basically, I moved up, simplified it, and moved it up from objective 3, objective 2.
Wayne, for application health to resolve S1 and S2, are we just looking to achieve a particular velocity on a regular basis? Because we'll always have bugs coming in, right? So it's not necessarily a burn down, but maybe just a cap as to where we want to be or a threshold.
And maybe also with a focus on overdue ones. I don't know if we have any current overdue ones, but Amar, you were tracking the equivalent OKR for Q4. Was that about overdue ones or any?
Any. Last I checked, there weren't any overdue ones. However, throughout the course of Q4, like Seth mentioned, a few did pop up under S2, but they were worked through and closed out as a result.
We don't want to get to 0, right? Because as Seth, you mentioned, they're always coming in. We want to get to 0, right? But we don't want to have that as a goal. It would be resolve a number of them, which would perhaps be the number we have currently and some more, assuming more coming. But we'll figure that out. That makes sense?
Yep.
Great questions.
Then additionally, I think a focus on S3 and S4 might also be a good one, because the list of S3 and S4 seem to be longer, usually always longer than S1 and S2.
Great. I know we're discussing this async, which is great. Please put the comments later. If you don't have them in the Google Doc, which is just fine, add them to the issue. That'd be great. So we're collaborating there as well for folks who didn't make the meeting or read it later, or we forget all this great feedback. All right, moving on to the next topic. Can someone volunteer to verbalize C?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. From left staff meeting, looking for volunteers to contribute to the audit work efforts. This can be any EM or higher. ICs can also help with the technical bits. Sam and Darva have started on this, but we could use some help. For context, these efforts justify our financial audit, and as such are important to overall success of the company. More details in this document link here.
And I just went through this. I got some time to look at this. I volunteered for one part. We're still looking for volunteers for others. So take a look, see if you're interested for you or your engineers, because there's some work that fits nicely in a people leader, and some for engineers as well, some automation work.
Is this a requirement just as a publicly traded company, or is this just a standard business practice to have a financial audit every year?
That is a great question. I don't know.
Maybe
ask
sorry.
me.
Kind of a related. Is this the audit that like the auditors sign off on as part of that, or because we also talk about audits for FedRAMP and audits for this and audits for Ruby Gems, and we use the term audit quite a bit.
Looking at the Christopher staffing, ITCG controls is what it's about. What is ITCG? I don't actually know what ITCG is. Google is my friend.
SP and
IT general controls. Great question, maybe to ask those
A
that,
quick search looks like it's part of SOX, which would be part of being a public company.
good. Thanks for volunteering to read those. Thomas, looks like you've got next.
Alrighty, this is just a big thank you for me. So, particularly for everybody's participation in those weekly error budget issues. We've got a link to this week's available there from the agenda. It was my week to represent everyone here in engineering allocation meetings that happened yesterday. And the content here was hugely helpful, not only in shortcutting the amount of time it took to prepare for that conversation, but in also providing additional context as to what was going on. And so this was a big help. So thank you. Thank you for this. And it's much appreciated and extremely helpful. And,
You got to verbalize that. I was going to.
Yeah, nice mug, Tiago. Great mustache.
I love that mustache mug. I've been seeing it for years. I miss it when I don't see it.
You know, Alexander from Mathieu's team is staying in my house with me, and he nearly got this mug. I said, people gonna ask you, where's Tiago and what have you done to him? So he got a different mug.
if he happens to use it and join a meeting, he has to join through your Zoom account.
We'll let him know.
Any questions for the group, George, based on what we discussed? And also, does the group have any questions for George? George has been a core team member, community contributor to GitLab for many years. I introduced George to Tim Zollman, and they said, "Oh, hold on a second. We've known each other for years." Because Tim's been around as well. So, George, do you have any questions for us, or do we have any questions for George as a community contributor?
Hello again, George. We saw each other tomorrow. How are you enjoying the experience?
It's been great so far, very informative. I mean, I feel close to the GitLab team, and it feels good to be part of this process here.
Do you feel like other core members would benefit from the experience?
Absolutely, yeah. I brought this initiative in the core team meeting a while ago, and maybe we'll bring it again up, so maybe others may be interested in joining.
Yeah, it's great. It's great having you and others coming in. It's going to bring us closer to the community. I like it. So welcome.
One thing that George and I discussed earlier is we don't have a lot of community contributions to our stages, secure, govern, growth, and data science compared to the other stages. And one of the reasons may be that people like contributing to things that they use. And most of our stuff, not all of it, most of it is you need an ultimate license to use. And a community contributor can get an ultimate license to do community contribution work, but they're not going to naturally gravitate towards it unless they're already at a customer that has an ultimate license. So I don't know if this surely would not be the only thing to increase community contributions for stuff, because we do have some, including Kev/Noel, this handle. He's done a lot in the past and really appreciate him. But for multiple reasons, not just this one, is move a subset of secure features and maybe govern features as well to the open core, to the open source part of the product. And rather than it being binary, like you can't get any of it unless you're an ultimate customer. Where we couldn't move too much or people would have no reason to pay, but maybe we move just enough where the open source community gets access to those and value them. And then indirectly, they start using them, and indirectly, then they have feedback on them and they can go improve it themselves with everybody can contribute. So I know we've talked about this as a concept in the past, but just figured I'd throw it in front of the group for their thoughts.
Wayne, have we considered switching responsibilities on the ultimate license? So, for example, as soon as we notice a new core member contribution, we reach out and say, hey, he's an ultimate license valid for whatever we're comfortable with. And keep track of that and just, you know, use that to build a stronger link? Or would
Yeah.
that be taxing on us? Have we thought about it?
I don't know if we've thought about it, but it sounds like a great idea.
You mean
Yeah,
like
there might
providing a
spark
license,
curiosity,
Thiago?
right, George? You receive, say, hey, here's your ultimate license. Ooh, what does this do? Let me go have a look.
I think it's already part of the Heroes program where, you know, when you contribute after some time, you also get the ultimate license for a group. But I don't remember if it's like on the first tier or the second.
Cool.
Maybe we
George, when
should is combining the ideas. Thomas, you were saying?
George, when you're looking for or identifying where you're going to contribute, how do you identify that opportunity? Is it by issues? Is it by things you notice? Is it features you want? How do you look?
Multiple ways. I mean, sometimes it's just something on the application that bothers me, or it's like moving 1 pixel to the left, or there is something that I'm always looking for migration initiatives where we migrate to the pajamas components and make the application more robust. And yeah, sometimes I just go through the community contributions, take a look what's going on. If there's anything I can help, forward things to the right person or team. But yeah, like open sourcing some parts of the security features would be really nice, because, you know, when you contribute to something, it would be nice to get something out of it or use it later. And I think in the past, historically, we have been open sourcing features from the premium tiers, and that would be something to consider.
We're almost at scheduled time. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.